For this video, I will show some things that our leaders have said. Now, because YouTube has stopped me from downloading videos, the quality of these clips is not as good. I had to use another method for getting them. The first clip comes from April 1st, 2025. Congress is having a press conference over something. I forget what. Towards the end, Speaker Mike Johnson is answering questions. Here's the clip.
Last question, very bad.
On the topic of activist judges, does the legislation touch on using artificial intelligence at all in this regard? And semantic analysis of artificial intelligence is very high. And is it theoretically possible to be able to use AI in a judiciary capacity?
Wow. I think they're going to replace all the lawyers before they do the judges, and I'm worried about that. I'm a recovering attorney myself. I don't know. That's a great question. They say AI is going to change everything. I certainly hope that we don't have AI determining the outcome of cases, though. I think you got to rely on the system and rely on the human judgment for these things. But we'll see. That's a brave new world question. I don't have the answer yet. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
Mike Johnson doesn't have the answer yet? Of course he does. It's already been planned out. He shrugs off the idea by saying we will still need the system. Even jokes about the Brave New World question. Comedy once again being used to cover the truth. Now, the reporter asked if artificial intelligence could be used in a judiciary capacity. Is this reporter planted there to ask the question? To seed the idea into people's minds? That may be a part of it. However, I do listen to the alternative conservative commentators from time to time, like the Alex Jones circle of people. They are saying that artificial intelligence should replace the woke activist judges. Does that reporter who asked the question listen to these guys? Woke is what I call a program term. It is seeded into the population for a reason. In this particular case, people will say as long as it isn't woke, it must be good. The lesser of two evils argument. So it would seem the powers that be have put in place all of these activist judges knowing people would take the lesser of two evils route. They would accept artificial intelligence as their courtroom judge. They would say, at least AI would be fair, unlike those woke activist judges. The problem and the solution. I have already shown that they are planning this for the Ukraine as a part of their rebuilding process. That's what the war is all about. Getting rid of the old and bringing in the new. Build back better. Both Putin and Zelensky already know this. Here's a part of a clip I have already shown, talking about AI for Ukrainian courtrooms.
Ukrainian courts are guided by artificial intelligence, and all notarial acts take place online.
The Ukraine war isn't going to stop until their controlled demolition is over. I watched these forums where these business leaders say what they are planning for Ukraine's future, the Electric Kingdom. The next clip comes from another story. Recently, there was an explosion at an IVF clinic in Palm Springs, California. Palm Springs is also by an area where lithium mining is being planned or underway. I remember Gavin Newsom saying it would be a boom for California's economy. But back to the clinic explosion. I was listening to the FBI press conference discuss the event. At the end, the reporters got to ask questions. One reporter asked a very interesting question. Here's the clip.
That nihilist belief.
Breaking News Channel 3. We had a reporter on scene at the Twin and Palms area yesterday, and community members were telling her that there was an FBI presence there in the days leading up to that. Can you confirm that?
I cannot. Okay, folks, that concludes this press conference. We're done, folks.
The FBI at the scene of a crime before it happens? Say it ain't so. That has become all too common over the years. So a reporter happened to be reporting on something else in the same area days before. People told the reporter they noticed an FBI presence in the area before the explosion event. When asked, the FBI agent couldn't confirm the reports, but of course he couldn't deny them either. It's become obvious over the years that the FBI is always in the area days before an incident occurs. How can this be? What a strange coincidence. Again. Another clue that something is wrong is that after the reporter asked the FBI guy about the agents being there beforehand, they quickly stopped the press conference. No more questions. Move along, nothing to see here. I thought people might want to hear that if they had not. The next clip comes from when Trump was in Qatar speaking to the troops from his Middle East trip this May. Here's the clip.
But probably have ever had, because there's such an incredible spirit now in our country. We have a whole new spirit, and it began on a date, November 5th. That was election day. Under the Trump administration, America is back, and America's military is back, bigger, better, and stronger than ever before.
A new spirit is in the air, Trump says. A spirit that began on election day, November 5th. A regular person will say he's talking about the patriotic spirit or something. But as always, there is a dual meaning, isn't there? Trump serves Lucifer. So what spirit is he talking about that was unleashed on November 5th? That last day of Samhain. I'm guessing a dark spirit. October 31st to November 5th. Samhain. Trump likes to use these double meaning stories. For his second campaign run for president, he used the story of, "You knew I was a snake when you picked me up." Regular people thought he was talking about illegal immigration, but Trump was talking about himself. From Trump's first campaign run for president, he used the ice rink story. I vaguely remember it. Maybe I'll be able to find a clip for it later on. Well, in this ice rink story, he talked about using copper pipes under the ice rink to keep the ice colder or something. Maybe it had to do with cost efficiency. The crowd cheered. To the regular people, it was a successful business story. But again, a double meaning, since pipes are symbolic of needles. The pipes he talked about were copper, so there are copper needles in the story that are under ice. The injections that would be produced under warp speed were in sub-zero containers. Before he even became president, he knew what was being planned. And of course, copper pipes for the copper bloods, the blue bloods. The next clip comes from Trump's press conference on Stargate back in January. Towards the end, a reporter asks about artificial intelligence. Here's the clip.
Mr. President, on AI data centers, will you rescind President Biden's executive order that opens up federal land?
On which centers?
On data centers. Will you rescind President Biden's executive order that opens up federal lands for data centers and energy production?
No, I wouldn't do that. That sounds to me like it's something that I would like. I'd like to see federal lands opened up for data centers. I think they're going to be very important. Again, we have a lot of competition for that. So it's an honor to have these three great people, great CEOs and great geniuses, all three. It's an honor that they want to come to our country, but we're going to make it as easy as we can for them because other countries want them to.
As you could hear, he has no plans to get rid of Biden's executive orders on artificial intelligence. Of course he won't. He got rid of the other EOs from Biden, but nothing that is a part of the true agenda. Biden played his role, now Trump is playing his. For the final clip, I have an exchange between Elon Musk and an interviewer from the Qatar conference recently. Here it is.
Let's talk about your other companies then in other business areas, SpaceX. I saw that you said in a speech at the West Point Military Academy recently that the future of warfare is AI and drones. And obviously defense is an increasingly booming sector with the state of the world at the moment. Do you see SpaceX moving into weaponized drones?
You certainly ask interesting questions that are impossible to answer. SpaceX is it's the space launch leader. So SpaceX doesn't do drones. SpaceX builds rockets, satellites, and internet terminals. So SpaceX has a very dominant position in space launch. So
See Elon pause for a while as he thinks of a cover story, like a deer caught in headlights. Good for the interviewer for asking. As always, these Satanists give truth with lie. He is correct in saying that SpaceX doesn't build drones. However, that doesn't mean another company or government agency isn't building them. Remember, he is working with the Space Force Agency. So another group builds the weaponized drones and SpaceX transports them into space. They are already sending Starlink satellites up. What else are they sending up? I don't have the movie clips, but if you want to see movie examples of weaponized space drones, I will mention a couple of them. You can go see the movies yourself. First in the movie Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. In it, the character Soundwave is orbiting the Earth as a satellite. Soundwave launches the character Ravage to Earth from inside his satellite body. Ravage lands on Earth and becomes a four-legged robot, like a robot dog. It then proceeds to attack a military base. The other example I could mention comes from the Spider-Man movie Far From Home. In it, Spider-Man accidentally activates Iron Man's satellite. As a result, a robot drone ejects from the satellite and heads to Earth. It's a weaponized drone. It believes Spider-Man gave it the order to kill someone on a bus with him, so Spider-Man has to stop the drone from killing the person. Also in the film, Iron Man's drones are used to create holograms. So do our current real-world drones create holographic images? I wouldn't be surprised. They can already be used to do those light shows. Well, that's all for this video. As always, I hope it helps. And stay with Jesus. The golden age of Lucifer is here.